Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do so much beer stuff here, it's hard to keep track sometimes. But this is by far my favorite of the beer stuffs. I know we talk about mystery beers and beer mails and classic massive beer review classics, all that stuff, but my favorite thing is Beertuber-Palooza. That's right. This is a Beertuber-Palooza update or info for this year's version of Beertuber-Palooza. So for those that don't know, several years ago, I just was like, hey, let's all get together and rip beers. And by us, I mean people in the YouTube community, beer tubers, things like that. People that comment and are fans of the channels and stuff like that. So the first year we did it, there was a small group of us, about 8 of us. We held it at my house. It was the hottest day in the history of mankind. It was ridiculous. It was like a real feel of like 113 degrees or something like that. But we plowed through it. We had a blast. We had it inside my place. Originally supposed to be outside, but did it inside. Managed, luckily, that there wasn't that many people to do it then. Then it was the following year. We did it at, what was the following year? Did we do a COVID year? Somewhere, we did it in my place a couple times, mostly out in my barn here. That one, there was probably about double the amount of people. Actually, you see the little photo here we have from that one. We didn't take photos, like a group photo in the first year. I don't know why. But we had a blast. Again, outside, all the good things, all the fun are had by us. Move forward, and I kind of, first couple years, I had it here on my farm, with it getting bigger and me having my kid now and stuff like that. It just wasn't in the cards for me to host it anymore here. So I decided to just kind of open it up to the group and be like, who wants to host? If you're one of the core members, it'd be like pick your area. If you want to host, step up to the plate and we'll have it at your spot. Kyle from the Hype Beer Reviews, he ended up stepping up, having it up in Albany. That one was like, actually, I was gonna say that was my favorite year, but it was one of my favorite. They all have favorite parts of Beertuber-Palooza, but that one was I guess the most intense one, as far as the group of people, the amount of people involved. Us running around, the type of breweries we got to visit, things like that. It was just a grand time because it was all of us in like an Airbnb too. So it was like all of us in the same spot. So there was like a ton of us and hanging out and just drinking beer, eating food, having a blast, all that fun stuff. And then fast forward to last year, Steven, not a beer tuber, but a friend of all the channels. The people from upstate New York call him the resource because of how much beer mail he sent off over the years. He hosted it in Connecticut at his place. He has this nice big house. There's room for a bunch of people to sleep there. And, Connecticut, you're very, very close to a bunch of great breweries. Hit some on the way up, kind of bounced around while we're up there with the Fox Farm. Still my favorite brewery in the universe. And fun was to be had. This year, drumroll please, you might have actually received an email about this already because it went out today. Joe from NAPA Beer Reviews. You're like, I don't know NAPA Beer Reviews. Joe is a beer reviewer for quite some time. If you go back into my back catalog, or even if you go into some of the Beertuber-Palooza videos, you'll see Joe is front and center on a ton of those. He did beer reviews for a very long time, but then he went to brewing school in Canada, Niagara, and then came back and became a brewer. And when you become a brewer, not that you have to stop doing Beertube, Peter from Master Hoppets, he's a brewer and he still does Beertube. But he decided, got to cut that off and just focus strictly on brewing. And that's what he's done. And he's worked his way through a bunch of fun breweries, from Brotherton Brewing to, he's at Levante Brewing now. He worked at River Horse Brewing for a stint. So he's been around and in and out of a bunch of different breweries. And he decided, I'm going to host this year. So, if you know anything about the breweries that I just mentioned, Levante, him brewing there, that means Beertuber-Palooza in Philly. We're going to do Philly style this year because that's where Joe lives. So he's the one who chose it, and he's going to have his area on display. And it should be a blast. First and foremost, the dates. It's this October 11th to the 13th, 2024 in Philly. We're still, again, I'll try to cover most of the bases here and the ins and outs of the information when it comes to this. But he's the one who's coordinating everything, so he's the one who sent emails out. A group, I think we sent about 50 beer tubers emails on this. If you didn't get it, check your spam box. If you want to get the email, reach out to me in the comments below, and I will clue you in. And the same thing goes for viewers of the channel. Like I said, Steven hosted it 1 year. He was a viewer of the channel. He came to the second year. Mike Bedardo came to this one. We've had other people who are viewers of the channel show up. We actually, oddly enough, I think it was the Albany one, bumped into somebody that was actually, I forget the name. I'm sorry, brother. Bumped into somebody at a taproom, and I was like, dude. He came up. He's like, oh, I enjoy the videos. Blah blah blah. I was like, why don't you just come hang with us? So came and ripped a bunch of beers with us, stuff like that. So if you watch the channel, you're in the channel, you're close to the Philly area, you want to join, feel free to reach out. We'll shoot you the email with all the pertinent information. But like I said, October 11th, 13th, Philly. We haven't picked an exact spot yet as far as where we're going to stay. Like I said, we traditionally pick an Airbnb, but Airbnb prices have started to skyrocket. Plus, our thing is a bunch of us drinking beer in a centralized location. That smells of a party. Airbnb is very anti-party. We're not partiers, we're beer reviewers, but it looks like a party because of all the beer. So it's kind of a touch and go thing. So we're not sure if we're going to do a Airbnb or a Verbo or whatever it may be, or maybe even just try to find like a nice, relatively cheap centralized location hotel that we could do. Maybe find one of those hotels that have conjoining doors, so that way we can have like a extra space to do beer reviews. We're figuring out all the logistics of that stuff, and typically what we do, in the long and short of it, we meet up and drink beers and do beer reviews. It usually spans Friday through Sunday. Friday's typically the day most people arrive. It's easy peasy, settle in, let's hang out, have some fun. Sometimes we go out and about on Friday nights, sometimes we don't. Shoot some beer reviews, meet and greet, have met some people before, get comfortable with everybody else, and that all fun thing. That's what we do. Saturday is the main portion of the show. It's usually a brewery trip. Sometimes more than one brewery trip. We're going to be in Philly, so we have access to a lot of really cool breweries. The central brewery we're going to kind of build this around is Human Robot, which is a lager brewery. They're known for their Milktubes, side pours, the whole nine. They're probably one of the fastest growing and worthwhile, worthy of that growth, lager breweries. And if you haven't heard of them, absolutely fantastic beers. They have several locations. We're going to be going to, Joe told me, the Kensington location, which is essentially downtown Philly proper. And from there, I'm sure we'll spend a couple hours there because it's lager. We want to rip them. Maybe even do some live reviews of the brewery, all that kind of fun stuff. Everything's up for grabs when it comes to this. And then just bop around town. Maybe hit a couple of, a tap room. I'd love to go to Monk's in Philly. They're known for their beer selection. That would be an epic stop. There's other breweries out and about that area. Tired Hands, obviously. Fermentary Form, and so many different breweries. I could just rattle off a bunch of them, but it's going to be the main hub there at Human Robot, and then we'll work ourselves out from there. And then Saturday is just, typically what we do is kind of end up back at our centralized location, give or take 5, 6 in the afternoon usually, and just it's on till Irish goodbye, and everybody else does reviews after that. And Sunday's kind of a free-for-all. Some people hang out and do some stuff earlier in the day, grab breakfast, maybe even go to another brewery. Some people just head on out. I typically try to schedule some interviews and podcasts and stuff like that around that time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, so we'll see what's what. But I don't live all that far from Philly, so I might hang out for most of Sunday because I'm an hour and change away from Philly, so I can even go home later in the day or even early Monday morning. And that's the cusp of it, man. And, if you're a beer tuber, it's open to everybody. There's no, whatever. Just open to everybody. If you're into it, reach out for the information. We'll let you know what's what. You're more than welcome to come and enjoy. And like I said, viewers of the channel, big viewers, you comment a lot. You'd love to reach out and have a beer with us, even if it's just go to meet at Human Robot and chug a couple beers, yada, yada, yada. All that fun stuff is great. I'm trying to think of what else. Joe has, I'm looking at his itinerary here. Cheesesteaks. I'm going to be in Philly. You got to do cheesesteaks. Just hang out and enjoy the hang and film some reviews. I don't know if I filmed a ton last time. I was having too much fun. But that's the kind of secondary thing of it. It's fun to do collab reviews, talk about beer and all that stuff. But it's more the community, everybody hanging out, chatting, having fun, just having a good time. So there you go. The announcement of Beertuber-Palooza 2024, the Philadelphia edition, the Milktube edition, the Love... I was going to say Love City because they have that love symbol, but, you know, Philly throws batteries at Santa, so I don't know what to call it. And we'll see what's what, you know. Once we get closer to that date, and if we do have some kind of group lodging option closer to that date, I'll let you know. We're going to figure that out probably closer to the end of summer. We don't want to wait too long. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Eagles versus Browns, I believe. So the city will be filling up. So we're not going to wait too long to figure out the whole situation. But some people who come just get their own lodging too. They don't want to do the group thing. They don't want whatever. There's no judgment. Do whatever you want. But yeah, this is just the announcement, letting you all know it's going down. Letting you know it's down Philly style, which is nice for a lot of people. International airport, if you ever want to come and cheap flights to Philly, come on, UK, Europe, let's go. You've always wanted to go to Philly. Anyway, so there you go. A little introduction of this year's Beertuber-Palooza 2024 is in the books. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, either in a message down below or directly matt@massivebeers.com or massivebeers@gmail.com. If you're interested in coming, you're more than welcome to send that information. Just reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with Joe and put you in the mailing list of for all the updates and stuff like that. Probably create like a Facebook group, do all that kind of things, and invite you all to it. So if you have any questions, more than welcome to reach out, comment down below. Hopefully you all are pumped for this year's version. Hopefully you decide to come and join, Beertuber or not. And hopefully you're enjoying some good beer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.